What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Smashing Pumpkins, and we're back to finally finish their 1995 double album, Mellon Collie, The Infinite Sadness, and the last track on the second disc, Twilight to Starlight, is, appropriately enough, Farewell and Goodnight. Though I say appropriately enough, and the title immediately stands out a bit for the juxtaposition of the two terms, in that farewell is something you say to someone who is departing. Now, obviously people can go on a vacation or some trip or some journey from which they eventually return, but farewell can also be a parting to someone who you may never see again, or at least you're not expecting to, whereas goodnight is a colloquialism or a friendly phrase or a well-wish that you say to someone who you do expect to see the next day. Good night, I'll see you in the morning. I suppose you could say goodnight to someone who's going to go elsewhere and who you may not see again, though typically you would say goodbye, not goodnight. So there's a bit of a tension between the duration whoever is being spoken to will be gone or when they might see the speaker again. Either way, as I said, on a more meta level, it does seem like a nice song title to finish a long double album of 28 tunes. So either way, I'll see what I can pick up, which is further to say, and as I've been saying throughout the journey through this double album, I did have this back in my teen years, but clearly I only listened to it with a select number of tunes and didn't appreciate the album as a whole. So in the moment, I'm not remembering anything about this tune, though it is technically possible that I've heard it before. So yeah, let's give it a listen. This is Smashing Pumpkins. The track is Farewell? I was going to say Goodnight and Farewell, but it is Farewell and Goodnight. Yes, Farewell and Goodnight, the final tune on Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness. That's not Billy, is it?
It's just as well. what's in your heart.
Masterful, both the tune itself and the album as a whole, and to conclude this album this way. So, yes, a very sweet sounding song. I'm not sure exactly about the lyrics. Some of them are like expressions, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. So it feels like there's maybe, some drawing of cultural references and purposing them into what sounds like a sincere sentiment, though I'm not sure. At the very least, that line about like good night, any hour, what was it, any hour of the day, something like that, or any time, which, obviously people can sleep at different times, but generally speaking, night is when the earth turns such that the sun goes down below the horizon and is no longer visible until it then rises again the next day. But if it's at any time of day, I feel like good night could be more conceptual or idiomatic. You can say good night when someone is put down and no longer allowed to do what they're doing, which obviously that could be about a kid being told, even if it's still light out, good night, it's time for you to sleep. But often good night can also be a sort of a witty way to say you're done. If you defeat someone, good night, you're out of here, you're done. So there's some lines that I feel like it depends on the rendering as a whole, and I'm not quite sure where that lies, but the atmosphere of the tune was very, very sweet and gentle. Though having said that, the acoustic guitar, it was played a bit forte. There was a bit of power to the strumming, even if it was in general a mellow bit of guitar. I love the little piano flourishes. Certainly at the end that took over as the percussive rhythm, which was sort of not galloping, but it was sort of plodding along in a cyclical, like syncopated way. But then at the end, when that fell away and the piano really came to the fore and then guided us out as if it was fading over the horizon and getting quieter and quieter as night finally came, I felt like that was very great orchestration or composition, even if some of those metaphors or similes aren't actually relevant in a thematic way. But yes, I believe we heard at least 3 different voices. Billy's voice, it's very recognizable. Again, it's a voice that you hear it a couple times, you'll never forget it. There was another male voice and I think a female voice. And indeed, someone was talking a few Pumpkins reactions ago about someone who had been a longtime fan of the group and then now they're part of the band. I didn't really know what was happening then, but I since read something that like in 2013 or something to that effect, they held auditions for someone to come in. I think it's the bassist, and there were like over 1,000 people who stepped up to try to get in, but the woman who was eventually selected had been a longtime fan of the group, so yeah, I now have a bit of context for what had been said in a comment before. But yes, this is back in 95, so I assume the vocals here were they a 4-piece at the time? Were like 3 of the 4 members that we heard here on the vocals? I'm not sure. Either way, a very compelling end to the album sonically, even if thematically I'm not quite sure what to make of it, though. As I said, just in terms of the sonics and some of the lines, it felt sincere. It didn't feel like there was some like stinging sarcasm to any of the lines, though again, I may be wrong, but yes, a very cool conclusion to the album. I'm not quite sure what the next step will be for Smashing Pumpkins, but I don't believe this will be the last in our journey through the group's material, so we'll look forward to whatever the next step will be. Let me know what you think of this, either the song itself or the double album as a whole. I appreciate all those who've been involved in, helping me rediscover this album and talking about the songs as we've gone through them. So let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.